Hello, internets, and welcome to another installment of last week's album where we talk about good music. My name is Kevin.
I'm Derek.
And we will start things off like we always do, cheersing with a beer. Derek, you have stitches on your hand while you're drinking a beer. What's going on over there?
Oh, sorry, internet cut out there. Do you have a question?
Yeah. I said, I see stitches on your hand as you drink your beer there. What happened?
Oh, man, it's kind of a funny story. I got into a fight from excessive use of, the American one-finger victory salute, and I ended up getting a big old cut in the shape of a V because of it. And by big fight, I mean grocery store accident. So, five
Manly.
stitches later.
Very manly, very manly.
Displays.
All right, well, that has nothing to do with our review, so we'll move on. This week, we're talking about an album called Stories Don't End by a band called Dawes. And full disclosure, before we get in, I myself am a huge, well, not huge, but big Dawes fan, but I will do my best to keep this objective for you guys for a solid review. Just for a little background, Dawes are an LA-based band, a quartet. A couple of them are brothers, and they're often called Laurel-Canyon revivalist, or guys who sort of throw back to this 60s sound of Crosby, Stills and Nash and Jackson Browne. And this time, however, they said they wanted to work on a more modern sound, and so they brought in a new producer, Jack King, who's done work with Norah Jones, Tom Waits, Kings of Leon, and that was what they went for, and we'll talk about at the end whether they achieved it. But let's start with Sounds Like. I have Sounds Like Trampled by Turtles meets Tom Petty. What did you have, Derek?
I have the Eagles meets the Beach Boys as 20-year-olds like 5 years ago.
I like that. I was waiting for you to bring it into this decade, like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into key tracks. I have Someone Will, Most People, and Bear Witness. What did you have, Derek?
I had opener Just Beneath the Surface, Most People as well, and Hey Lover.
All right, why don't you kick us off with the opener there, Just Beneath the Surface. Why'd you like it?
Just Beneath the Surface kind of starts off a little understated, if you will, some drums, a bass beat that kind of picks up and carries the tempo along. And I thought that one really struck me because one thing they do really well is a lot of vocal harmonies and stuff like that. And I thought that's always been one of their strong suits, and they really nailed it at the beginning on this track. It was kind of a brighter tune. Still had a lot of the country, western blues type vibe, and as I said, the vocal harmonies are from the very beginning were very solid. Made it a strong opening track in my mind.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that, vocal harmonies were literally right from the start. I think they come singing right in with two or three of them all together, and it sounds awesome, and I think it is a good opener. However, for my first key track, I have Someone Will, which has these snappy drums and bright acoustic guitar, a hopping bass, and a really nice pedal steel guitar. Nice touch there for a little of that western flair. And overall, the song had this nice juxtaposition of an upbeat sound with a longing message. This guy is subtly offering himself to this girl who's preoccupied with another. And despite that sort of sad song mentality, it overall has a bright sound that the two opposite ends there make for a nice little mix. Which brings us next to Most People. Derek, why don't you start us off? What do you think of it? Because I also thought it was a good track.
People. I thought it, along the same lines of what you're just mentioning, this one also kind of had two different sounds in the same song. It kicks off immediately with this electric guitar and organ riff. It's really bright, upbeat, but then it shifts to the verses, which are much more sparse, darker, if you will. The song kind of talks about he's talking about this girl, how she's always looking at other people and thinking like, wow, how come people don't understand how lucky they are? And he kind of they kind of walk this fine line between looking at some of the darker areas in life, but then always trying to find the silver lining in things, much like how my finger did not get infected after being just disfigured last week. And there was a lyric in there I really liked. He says, like January Christmas lights under billion-year-old stars, she comes up with more of what is lost than what is found.
Nice, very nice. And I like how you brought it back home, Derek, with your deli incident. Most people, you're right, don't appreciate uninfected injuries.
Most people also don't get injured at the grocery store.
That's true. That's true. You're one of a kind, Derek. You truly are. But back to the song. Yeah, overall, it tells the story of this girl, like you were saying, and that's something I hadn't heard a lot of out of Dawes, and they do it later on my next key track we'll talk about in a second, is this interesting sort of character study and lead singer-songwriter Taylor Goldsmith putting himself in the position of this girl, which obviously he's a guy, and it seems like sort of a younger girl, not really sure, we don't know, but it just makes for this interesting character study and this imaginative place you let your mind go and sort of understand someone else's lot in life. And I don't know, even aside from the beautiful sounds the song makes about that message, made it a really nice package. And that brings us to your next key track, Derek. What'd you have?
Hey Lover. This one was kind of an upbeat tune, electric guitars going, lots of drums, kind of a goofy song, as the title implies. It's kind of a love song. But it's definitely very kind of goofy, off the wall. One lyric I really liked was, "But I want to raise with you and watch our younglings hatch, effing make the first letters of their first names match." Except he doesn't say effing.
He says fucking.
He does. I didn't know if we could say that.
I don't know if we can either, but fuck it. Yeah, that's also a great song. It's actually a cover by a guy named Blake Mills, who was in the band Simon Dawes with the lead singer of Dawes, Taylor Goldsmith. So the two of them go way back. And from what I've read, Dawes is a big fan of that song, so I think they just took the opportunity here to cover it. And it does show a nice range there, you're right. It's a little goofy and a little bit more fun and lighthearted than a lot of Dawes material, so that was a nice sort of change of pace for them. However, for my last key track, I have Bear Witness, which, like I mentioned earlier, is another character study. It's sort of this old man who's looking back on life and wondering if the love he's found throughout life is the love he was supposed to find, basically. But it's got this galloping beat, really strong vocal melodies that crescendo, and this kind of weird, trippy, scorching lead guitar that ended up sounding really nice, even though it was a little bit different. But yeah, overall, just a really nice track about this old guy looking back on life and, again, making you think about how other people experience life. So really strong message along with a really strong sound. Which brings us to best lyric. My best lyric stems from this song, Bear Witness. The line is, "Some nights get worse than others, and I start thinking about your mother, and she's here with me as far as I can tell. As if the world revealed its secret and it's asking me to keep it, like a kid that hears the ocean in a shell." I mean, I think you get it. That's just an awesome, awesome line, packed with a lot of emotion and a really nice metaphor, and even some intrinsic rhymes, which were throughout the song, Bear Witness, which make it really, really strong. Derek, what do you have for best lyric?
Mine came from most people, as mentioned earlier. Like January Christmas lights under billion-year-old stars, she comes up with more of what is lost than what is found. And really, I like that mostly because he puts good use to the term January Christmas lights, which, I mean, you always see them. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. We always see them. You probably leave them up yourself, don't you, Derek?
I got February Christmas lights this year.
Awesome. All right, well, let's jump into overall rating. I have 4 out of 5. What do you have, Derek?
I had 3 out of 5. I thought that it showed tremendous growth from their previous albums, but towards the end there, some of those tracks kind of seemed to drag on and sounded a little monotonous to me. But overall, I mean, they showed considerable growth from their previous albums. I thought the vocal harmonies were exceptionally tight, and as you said, the songwriting really showed further growth as well, especially kind of the character development and stories like that. I did enjoy a lot of those.
Yeah, I would agree that a couple of songs could have been left off this album, but I still think it's super strong. And to echo what you said, really great growth out of this band who continues to evolve their sound but stay true to their core vibe. And yeah, probably Taylor Goldsmith's best songwriting to date. He's starting to get more imaginative with it and get out of his own headspace. And some of these songs about his long-lost love, I feel like I've heard before, and it's tried and true. Well, not tried and true, but tried territory for him. And I'd like to hear him continue imagining other people's perspectives on things and stop harping on whatever girl broke his heart back in high school. Sorry, not to make light, Taylor. Just saying. And also the band really comes together with all their instruments and sounds and giving each other plenty of room to breathe, but still creating new sounds. And, yet another solid album from what I think is one of the most dependable, most unique bands around today. So, strong work, Dawes. All right, well, that wraps it up, guys, for last week's album review. Go check out Stories Don't End. Let us know what you think. And while you're at it, buy some more new music and jam it. So that's it. This is last week's album. Talking about good music. Signing off. Have a good week, guys.